It ain't nothing like respect. Respect. It pays to have respect. Pays to get respect. Yeah, that's why I always say, respect should come before love. Yeah, respect. Respect is gonna last when you dead and gone. The respect is still gonna be here, and the respect is consistent. The love, that man, that could go up and down. One day I love you, next day I hate you. That's what they say. That's not what I say. But respect is consistent. And if you don't believe it, and I always use the job analogy, like your woman, or probably even you, when you go to that job, like your woman, when she go to that job, she's kissing ass at that job. Your woman, your girlfriend, your wife is kissing ass at that job that she claims she hate so much. But she's on her P's and Q's at that job. You know why? Because she knows if she get out of pocket, they gonna get her up out of there. That's why. It ain't just because you gotta pay the bills. No, it's much deeper than that. It ain't just because of the bill. The bills is a part of it, but it's a respect thing. People, and they don't necessarily respect the person, they respect the position that the person is in. They respect the position that the person is in. And you can see this play out a lot of times, because you might have a person that leaves, maybe he's taking another job, so he quit, or maybe he gets fired, right? And you might see that same person out in public, and people will ignore him or her. They will ignore that person because they never respected him in the first place when they worked with him. But now that they're not working together, that person is invisible. I've seen that play out a couple of times. And then you have the opposite that happens. The person that gets respect at the job, like for real, they respect the position and they respect the person. When he or her leaves, they might be out in public somewhere and they don't speak to that person because the respect was always there the whole time. Even with or without the job, the respect was there. It ain't just the job position that they respected that this person had. So yeah, your woman, she's in there kissing that ass. But how come now? How come she don't respect you like that? I mean, some guys get respect like that, but the ones that don't, why do you think it happens that way? Why do you think it happens that way? Why do you think you have women that will hang around guys all day long, will even live with a guy, and really never respected him? Why do you think that is? A lot of times it's because she never. A lot of times she's settled. She's settled in most cases. A lot of women had to settle because, you know, they didn't have the confidence to go out and get the guy that they wanted to get. They had to take what they could get, you know, for different reasons. Maybe she, I don't know, overweight, don't look good enough, don't take care of herself, got health problems. It's a lot of different reasons why. Maybe she ran a lot of dudes off, missed opportunities. A lot of women will, try to be out. They stay out in the streets too long, and then shit. By the time they hit late 20s, in the 30s, shit start drying up, and a lot of women panic. They'll be like, "Oh shit, I ain't getting them damn phone calls like I used to. What the hell's going on?" And a lot of times, like I said, they still got one foot out in the street and one foot in a relationship. So a lot of times they'll just settle, but they're still trying to live that double life, and it doesn't work. It don't work. That's why you have a lot of women will be popping pills and all kind of shit. Because they're basically trying to cope with the fact that they with a guy that they really don't like, should have never been with, but they with him anyway. So, and they really want to be out in the streets. They really don't want to be with him because he wasn't really her first choice. But in her mind, she didn't really have a choice because her pickings were slim. So it's hard to be around somebody that you don't like. It's hard to be around people that you don't like, just as a human. That's why the drinking and the drugging and the getting high and the popping pills, that's where cause I gotta be out of my mind to be around this person. You know what I'm saying? Yes, people have to be out of their mind to do certain things too. That's another thing. That's why if you go to the strip club, most strippers get high. You gotta to get on that pole. They gotta be high. You can't be sober. And a lot of men and women, they got to be high or drinking or something to be with the person they live with. They can't be sober. I think maybe if they were sober, they'd lose their mind. I don't know. But I know for a fact that it's hard to be around people that you dislike. I know that much. It's hard for me to be around people that I dislike. And I've heard other people say the same thing too. I've heard people say stuff like, I gotta stop at the bar and get a drink before they go home because she wants to smash tonight. Shit like that. I've heard women say stuff like, she got to go sniff something because he wants to smash. You know how sad that is? You got to get high to be around somebody. That's a sad way to be. Sad sack of shit. You got to be high. You got to be out of your mind to engage in certain activities with somebody. Oh man, that's horrible, man. I mean, you got to sniff something to, God damn. But it happens all the time. It happens all the time, man. Happens a lot. That's why if you go to the bars right now, it's mostly married people in the bars. Right now. All across the country. It's mostly married people in the bars. It's mostly married people at the strip clubs. It's mostly married people at the strip clubs and the bars during the weekdays. Now the weekend comes, the single people. Weekends, single people are the majority. Weekdays, it's married people up in the bars, in the strip club. Because they're not happy. Because a lot of them have sold their soul to the devil. And whenever you sell your soul to the devil, there's a price to pay for that. Whenever you settle, whenever you do something and you know you shouldn't be doing it, there's a price to pay for that. That's why they got to drink and get high and sniff. That's why they got to do that. They're doing shit that they don't want to do, having a threesome. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do it, but they gotta get high. I'm like, well, I'll be like, hey, well, just tell them you don't want to do it. And they'd be like, well, I don't want to say that. I want them to be happy. I want to make them happy. Okay, whatever, you know. So they got to sniff, got to get high, smoke a little weed, or whatever whatever they engage in. You know, that's the purpose of dope, is to get high and be out of your mind and engage in wild, crazy shit that you would probably never do if you were sober. You know. Yeah, so that's the purpose of the dope. Yeah, you have to be numb. Exactly.